Hello, and welcome back to the American Fan Football Channel, where I am the aforementioned American, and we talk about everything football related, including the Premier League, Champions League, and everything else in the beautiful game. Please, if you have been liking this content, please like and subscribe for the video, turn the bell on so you can see when I drop new videos. Go check out the previous video. I posted one video earlier today and posted 3 others in the past couple days, so I would really appreciate if you check those out. It would really help out this channel and mean a lot for me. But without further ado, let's get into the topic of today's video, which is going to be Liverpool. And I thought, out of all of the things we could cover with Liverpool, there's one thing I wanted to talk about most. And that is Trent Alexander-Arnold. He has been one of the best right backs at times and one of the worst right backs at times. He is basically now renowned for being worldly talented in attacking, but fairly average in defending. And I think it's starting to become a problem for Liverpool. So I think when Liverpool are full firing and you have Van Dijk and Matip at center back, and you have Jordan Henderson at the right center mid in that 3-man midfield to cover for Trent Alexander-Arnold, then you can unleash all of the attacking might that Alexander has on offer. And that's spectacular. It could be the most creative player in that entire Liverpool team, and he could create the most chances in that Liverpool team, and it could be kind of amazing. But when Jordan Henderson's not playing in that side of the midfield, and you have a player, let's say Harvey Elliott, or even James Milner, who's slower and has even less recovery pace than Henderson, then you don't have that same cover. And when you don't have that same cover, Trent is still trying to make all of those runs, bombing up the field, trying to put in dangerous crosses, but he has almost no inclination to get back because he thinks someone will be covering for him. But when no one's covering for him, because either Harvey Elliott is an attacking midfielder, not a defensive midfielder, so he's not naturally going to cover, there's gaps, and they're exposed at the back. And you can consistently see in the games that Liverpool lose that managers are targeting Trent Alexander-Arnold as the weak point in that back line. Not to mention there has been other problems. Virgil van Dijk hasn't looked great this season. Without Joel Matip, Liverpool seemed to struggle. Joe Gomez is not the center back I think people thought he was going to be. Overall, I think Robertson has been fairly all right defensively. Usually we do see attacks coming down Liverpool's right flank, because on that side you have Salah. Not going to cover back defensively. That's not his player. He's not that player. He's a goal scorer. Now you've been having Harvey Elliott on the right side. He's not a defensive midfielder. He's not going to cover back. That's not what he wants to be doing. He wants to be creative. He wants to be attacking. And then you have Trent Alexander-Arnold, who wants to be creative, wants to bomb forward, doesn't want to defend. So you have that entire right half of Liverpool's team that doesn't want to defend. And it's really leaving them exposed. So how does Jurgen Klopp go about fixing this? And I think that's a really interesting discussion to have, because I think there are 2 solutions. One, you buy a new right back, and 2, you buy a new midfielder. They need someone to replace Jordan Henderson, who is younger, still experienced, maybe in like the 25 to 27 range, and who who can cover back for Trent and allow Trent to bomb forward. Otherwise, they need to buy a right back that can do both. That could defend, that can attack, and that can have that balance, kind of like what Reece James does for Chelsea. My personal opinion, Reece James, the best English right back, but that goes without saying. Yeah, so those are what I think the two solutions are. But those both involve buying a player. So, actually, no. First, let's talk about what I think could be a third solution. Having someone play right back, or buying someone to play right back, and then finally doing what everyone has talked about for Trent's entire career and moving Trent to midfield. Will it work? I don't really know. But I don't really think Jurgen Klopp has too much to lose at this point. I think it could solve multiple of Liverpool's problems. So, problem one is that with Trent in the back line, they look defensively weak. People are attacking their back line, specifically on Trent's side, and they're getting past him, they're exploiting that space, and that's how Liverpool are conceding goals. The other problem Liverpool have been having is a lack of creativity in midfield. So, yes, when they have Thiago, that creativity is there, but now that he's been injured, that drop in creativity has been massive. We have seen a midfield at times of Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, and James Milner. Wow, that is an old midfield. We have seen at times James Milner playing along Harvey Elliott. One of those players was playing in the Premier League when the other one was born. And you can thank that fact from Rory Jennings. I stole that one from him. But that is a crazy stat. James Milner can't be consistently starting for Liverpool. He could play in the League Cup, maybe come off for 10 minutes on the bench to use his experience, use his leadership, but he should not be starting for Liverpool anymore. So without Thiago, there has been a severe lack of creativity in midfield for Liverpool. So what if we move Trent there? We get creativity from Trent, because he's a very creative player. He could maybe make underlapping runs instead of overlapping runs with Mo Salah. So that dynamic could be different and maybe help spark a little bit of a renaissance in Salah's form, which has fairly looked pretty abysmal this season. And then that leaves somewhere at right back. So if you get someone, it doesn't even have to be someone who's defensively sound at right back, or who's offensively sound at right back, someone who can just be good defensively, stays back, and maybe allows Robertson to get a little higher forward, but allows Trent to really operate in midfield and not have to worry about his defensive duties as much, because he has a solid right back behind him who's watching over him if players pass him. This allows Trent to, he can still go wide because he's in the right center mid position. He could overlap with Salah on the outside. Then Salah can drop deeper. He could go in towards the middle, cut in, and he has so much more creative liberty that I think he could exploit with his technical ability. And all of this, he would have less defensive ability because he has that better right back kind of covering him, and he has less defensive duties as a midfielder than a center back, as a right back. So all of these three solutions, replacing Trent at right back, replacing Henderson in midfield, or moving Trent to midfield and playing someone else at right back, all require Liverpool to get a new player, which is unfortunate because the transfer window did just close. And I don't think Arthur from Juventus was the midfield solution that they were looking for, unfortunately. But with that being said, are there any possible solutions to fix Liverpool with the players they already have? So I think there's a couple potential solutions. I think the best way to do it would be to move Trent to midfield, and I think that would just change the dynamic of Liverpool and maybe spark, just a little bit of freshness into some stale tactics that have been kind of the same for a while. And you could play one of 2 or 3 players at right back instead of Trent, and move Trent to midfield. So I would say those 3 players could be Joe Gomez. He has the recovery pace more than like any of the other center backs that are at Liverpool. He could do a decent job at right back, I think, if he's only being tasked with the defensive duties of right back. The other potential I could see is maybe James Milner. He's played a left back for large parts of his career at Manchester City and at Liverpool. He's a pretty versatile player, so I don't see playing right back, if he really had to be that bad. He would have to move a lot less because he's playing that as a defensive right back instead of attacking right back, more of like a Ivanovic type right back than like the Trent Alexander-Arnold type right back. Then I could also see Jordan Henderson maybe playing right back, just because you don't need as much recovery pace if you're staying back, and you're kind of already in position, and you can still use that leadership that Henderson brings to the team, just in the right back position. So yeah, overall, I think those are kind of my thoughts on Liverpool, and specifically like how to fix the Trent problem, how to fix the midfield problem. So yeah, if you liked the video, please drop a like, subscribe, and put the bell notifications on. Check out the other video I dropped today about the entire Todd Boehly era at Chelsea, as well as Graham Potter's appointment, Thomas Tuchel's sacking, and everything else about Chelsea kind of. That was a bit of a longer video, but I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And that's really all I have for you today. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I will probably talk to you tomorrow.